What's going on, you all? My name is Eric Mosley, and we are back with another movement session here. Today, we're going to be focusing on opening up our hearts. So, many of you might be hunched over a keyboard all day, or you might be doing a lot of texting and kind of really in the shoulders. So, today, we're going to spend the next several minutes together opening up the heart, opening up our shoulders here, and getting some movement going. You don't need much for today's practice. If you'd like to use any props, any blocks, that's totally fine. We will be on our mats, but this is a gentle flow that you can do at any point. We'll start with some sun salutations, and then we'll really start to focus and zero in on opening up our chest and our hearts. So let's get started. You want to make sure that you have some space around you so that you can move. If you have a yoga mat, perfect. If you don't, just clear the floor around your area. And we're going to start in this easy seat. I know that it can be uncomfortable for some folks to just sit cross-legged or to just sit down in this way. So if that's uncomfortable for you, feel free to change your position to sit on your heels. Feel free to get a pillow and put it underneath you, or maybe some blocks to elevate your hips. But just find a position that you can sit in for the next couple of minutes, and we'll go ahead and get going. I always like to start by closing the eyes and bringing my palms face down or face up close to my thighs. And we're just going to take a few moments here to come into our space, to become aware of what's going on in our breath and in our bodies, and to start to begin to quiet the mind. So let's start together by taking a few breaths in through the nose and exhaling them out of our mouth. 2 more like that. In through the nose, exhaling out of the mouth. Taking another breath. Exhale and let it go. You can keep breathing in and out of your mouth, or you can just breathe through your nose. It's up to you. And throughout our time together, I want you to stay focused on your breathing. So I'm going to be giving you a lot of cues. And it is okay if you are breathing to a different count than I am. The intention here is just really to just be aware and present of your breath. Present with your breath, knowing and feeling what your breath is doing. That's going to keep us grounded in this moment. As you take your next breath in, begin to sweep your hands up over your head and bring your palms together to touch. Exhaling out of the mouth to stay. And as you inhale, start to point your fingertips up towards the ceiling a little bit more. And then notice what's happening with your lower back. Are you starting to arch forward? And if you are, tuck your tailbone under so that your back is nice and straight, and keep creating some length through the sides of your body here as you stretch your fingertips up. As you exhale, your right hand is going to reach back behind you, and your left hand is going to come to the outside of your right knee. We're taking a twist here. Inhale, find length in your spine, grow nice and tall. And as you exhale, pull your belly button back towards your spine and see if that gives you more space for you to twist towards your right side. Now, as you bring your right shoulder blade back behind you, as you move it away from the left shoulder blade, see if you can also move your left shoulder blade away from the right. I know that sounds tricky, but we're moving this right shoulder, not the blade, but this right shoulder away, and we're sending this left shoulder back as well. So we're opening up through our chest in this twist. Take another breath here. Maybe look over the right shoulder, and then inhale, come back center. Bring your hands up overhead. This time, right hand goes towards the left, the outside of the left knee. Left hand is gonna reach back behind you, and we'll do that same combination. Inhaling to find length in the spine. Exhaling, pulling the belly button towards the spine and finding more twist to the left side. So when we pull the belly button up and in and twist from our core, It gives us a little bit more space to be gentle with our shoulders. We don't want to pull ourselves from the upper body. We want to be able to create some space from the core and see if we've got a little bit more room. And again, we're going to move this left shoulder away from our face and move that right shoulder back as well. Find that length in your spine. A lot of things happening as we stay consistent with our breath. And maybe look over the left shoulder. Now come back center as you inhale. Hands are going to go up overhead. And then this time as you exhale, just bring the hands down to the thighs. Good. Reconnect with your breath and see what's going on here. Just did some twisting with the spine. Inhale the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, roll them back and down. Inhale again, 2 more times. Shoulders come up. Exhale, back and down. Last time, roll the shoulders forward and up. Exhale them back and down. And now we reverse the direction. Inhale the shoulders back and up. Exhale them forward and down. And you can take this as quickly or as slowly as you'd like. 2 more times, going back and up. And exhaling forward and down. Last time, back and up. Inhale. Exhale, back and down. Good. Find your stillness as the shoulders relax away from the ears and reconnect with your breath. Notice any thoughts that come into your mind in this moment, and as they come in, let them come, acknowledge them, and then let them float away with your next breath. Again, when we are super aware of our breathing, then the rest of the stuff just starts to take care of itself. Take a few more breaths here in your stillness. We're going to inhale and bring the hands back up overhead this time. As you exhale, we're going to hinge at our hips, roll forward, bring the hands down in front of you, and then keep going over the knees and come onto your hands and knees. Meet me in this tabletop pose. We'll start to open up the heart, warming up the spine as well with some cat and cow poses. So your hands are underneath your shoulders like we've done in the other video. Your knees are right underneath your hips. Good. Some people like to tuck the toes as they go into cat pose. We can try it that way, and if that doesn't work for you, then just press the tops of the feet into the mat. So my toes are tucked. I'm inhaling, belly drops towards the mat, tailbone goes up, heart really shines forward here for cat. As you exhale, untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet into the mat, tuck the tailbone under, round through your spine, head drops for cow pose. And the same action as we did before is try to pull that belly button back towards the spine and find more rounding in the back. And then inhale, find your cow pose again. If you want to tuck the toes here, then you can tuck them for cow. And I want you to stay here for another breath. Start to bend the elbows a little bit. Pull the shoulder blades away from one another, or the shoulders away. The shoulder blades are coming together in the back body. And feel the stretch in your heart a little bit more. Good, and then as you exhale, start to tuck the tailbone under, rounding through the spine. Take a few more of those on your own breath. Adding a little micro bend in the elbows to start to shine the heart forward even more. And then really lifting up and pressing out of it. Good. And as you exhale with the next breath, I want you to just sit back on your heels. You're going to walk your hands up towards your knees and just come up to sit. Again, tilt that tailbone underneath to find a nice straight back. We'll inhale our hands up over our heads. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the hands back behind you. You're going to interlace your fingers here. Elbows nice and bent. Your hands can come right behind you at your sacrum or right over your tailbone. When you take your next inhale, you'll straighten your arms and puff your chest out. So this is a really great heart opening exercise here. Inhale and bring the shoulders up towards the ears. And as you exhale, let them drop back down, and you'll feel your fists start to move down towards your toes. Yeah, keep that tailbone tucked under. Your back might want to arch forward. So keep it tucked under so it's nice and straight, but your heart is still shining forward. One more breath here. And as you exhale, I want you to start to drag your knuckles away from your feet, away from the body. Any degree helps or works here. Perfectly fine. Take one more breath. And then exhale, bring the knuckles back down towards the legs. We'll inhale, come to our knees, and we'll release the hands, but this time we'll rest them right on the tops of our hips over our glutes, okay? So we're gonna take a early camel pose here. If you need to take some padding underneath your knees, go ahead and do that. But to start, I want you to keep the tailbone tucked under, your hands on top of your hips or your glutes helps do that. And then I want you to point your elbows back behind you. Yeah, so I went from here to here. You're gonna look forward, and I want you to keep your hips right where they are. They might push forward a tiny little bit, but keep them pretty aligned right where they are, square right over your knees. We'll take a breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, shine your heart forward. Keep pulling your elbows back behind you. Let your chin point up towards the ceiling, and we'll just take this pose right here, nice and easy. One breath. Exhaling out. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, bring your chin back towards your chest. Come back to sit on your heels. Let the hands go, sweep them up over your head. Inhale. Exhale, come to hands and knees. We're gonna tuck our toes underneath, lift the knees up, and press back. Find your downward facing dog. Now you can keep a big bend in the knees here. If the heels are lifted up, that's totally fine. But I want you to think of this downward facing dog as a heart opener as well. So you're gonna spread your fingers wide here onto the mat and think about breathing into your back. So we're gonna send that breath all the way to the back body. Let your head drop and be really heavy. Exhale out of the mouth, and as you exhale, think about pressing your chest towards your thighs. As you do so, your head drops. Maybe you look in between your toes, and you can keep the knees really bent here, or you can start to straighten the legs, pedaling through the feet, inviting your heels closer towards the mat. Don't worry about if they touch or not. Really, the magic here is in opening up the chest, pressing the heart back towards the thighs. Take a breath in through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Rise to your toes on your inhale. Exhale, bend your knees and walk towards your hands. Come into a forward fold. Let your knees bend really well here. Let your head drop and be heavy. And then we're going to inhale and find a halfway lift. Your palms will come to your shins. Move your shoulders away from your ears. Yep. Press your shins or your hands into your shins and your shins back into your hands. Look down at your mat so your neck is nice and long. Take another breath in. And exhale and forward fold. Here we're going to root down on our feet. Press into your feet to rise up. You'll come to stand. Your hands will go up over your head. Good. And as you exhale, your hands are going to come back behind you. Interlace your fingers just like we did before and send your fists towards your feet as you take a breath in. You're going to lift your chest up towards your heart. Keep your hips planted where they are. You don't want them to press forward. So keep them grounded by tucking your tailbone under. Lift your heart up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, look up. And as you exhale, we're going to bend at the knees, hinge at your hips. Keeping your hands back behind you, we're going to forward fold. Now you can keep your hands right here, or you can send your fists up towards your head, stretching through the heart center again. Let your head drop and be heavy. And don't force it, but just see how far the hands can go, just to test. Again, not to force, but just seeing where your edge is, where that zone is, where it feels like I can stretch here, but not so much where it feels like it's pain. Take another breath in through your nose. Exhale, let the hands drop down towards the sacrum. Inhale here. Exhale, separate the palms and bring them back down towards the ground. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Good. Root down again to rise up. As you inhale, your hands come up overhead. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to your heart center. We're gonna take that one more time. Inhale and sweep the hands down to rise up. Exhale, forward fold, swan dive down. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Plant your hands down on the ground. We're gonna step back to a high plank. Pull the shoulders over your wrists. Take a breath in. Exhale, bring the knees down. We'll lower the whole body down. Point your elbows back towards your feet and tuck them in tight by your ribs. As you inhale, press the tops of your feet into the mat. Lift your chest up. Now you can stay like right here for a nice baby cobra, squeezing your shoulder blades together back behind you, looking over the top of your mat. And you can feel a heart opening here too. If you want to keep pressing up, you can start to straighten the arms a little bit more, coming into a full cobra. And again, shining your heart forward or squeezing the shoulder blades back behind you. You'll press back to hands and knees, tuck the toes, lift the hips, down dog. We're going to take that one more time, and then we're going to do that hands behind the head as well. So rise to your toes, inhale, exhale, bend the knees, travel to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Root down to rise up, to inhale. Exhale, hands come back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Inhale, send your fists towards your feet. Lift your chest up. Lift your gaze. Now, if you want to take a little bit more of a back bend, then you can, but try to keep your hips square right where they are again, and just lift the upper back. So we're lifting through the heart, bringing our gaze up towards the ceiling. One more breath. Exhale, come back, bend the knees, hinge at the hips, hands stay back behind you. Let your head drop. Keep your hands here. This is the perfect place to stay. Or inhale them up over your head, opening through the front and the back body, stretching through the shoulders. Exhale, hands come back down to the sacrum. And then separate, come down to the mat. Halfway lift as you inhale, shoulders away from ears. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands down, step the feet back, high plank. Take a breath in through your nose here as you pull the shoulders over the wrists. As you exhale, bring the knees down, point the elbows back and lower down. Lift your chest on your inhale, either a few inches above your mat, elbows pointing back, or extend them long. Press back. This time we're just gonna press back to a child's pose. So keep pushing back, forehead comes down onto the mat. If you have blocks, you can place them underneath your hands to lift them up a little bit higher, stretching through the back. Otherwise, just take a big breath in through the nose here. And as you exhale, press your hips back towards your thigh, or towards your heels even more. So you're pushing back, hips towards heels, fingertips stretching forward, and you're creating the length in the back of your body. A lot of times we think about our heart just being in the front, but our heart space also wraps around to the back. So as you breathe in, keep breathing into the heart space in the back of the body to open that up. Good, take another breath in. As you exhale, we're gonna walk our hands over to the left side. So my left hand's completely off of my mat. My right hand is halfway on and halfway off. As I exhale, I keep on pressing into my heels. And I'm feeling this really big stretch in the right side. Take another breath here. You can stay as long as you'd like. And then we're gonna exhale and start to walk over, pass through the middle, and do the same thing on the right side. Right hand's totally off the mat, left hand's half on, half off. And I'm pressing my hips back. As I exhale, I'm inhaling and breathing into the left side of my body. One more breath here. Exhale, come back center with that child's pose. Good, we're gonna inhale, walking our hands back up towards our knees, coming to sit on our hands and on our knees. We're gonna end with one more camel pose to end and come back down. So inhale, come on back to your knees. Sweep the hands up over your head. And as you exhale, bring the hands down to the hips. The heel of your hand is right at your hip or your waist. Hands resting on your glutes. Squeeze the shoulders back behind you. We're gonna take one last back bend. If you wanna go a little further, feel free. Take a breath in, look up. Now you can stay here if this feels good, or you can start to reach one hand back for your heels. Keep pressing the hips forward. Lift the chest up towards the ceiling. Good, full camel pose. You can keep the gaze up towards the ceiling, or if you'd like, you can start to drop the head and look back behind you. One more breath. I'm gonna bring my head up. I'm gonna bring one hand at a time to my hips, come back up, and then I'm gonna press the hips back. Come to sit, hands rest forward. Inhale the shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale them back and down. Connect with your breath for a few more moments here in this position, or you can switch to Sukhasana, or easy seat, sitting cross-legged. Sweep the hands up one more time over your head, palms together to touch, and then exhale them right back down to your heart center. Thank you for practicing with me today. Again, my name is Eric Mosley. This has been your quick open